all you wonderful women. It's Janet again. Today we're going to talk about figuring out who we really are and what aspects of that we really like and what aspects we would rather change. Think about if you were with somebody who really irritated you all the time and you needed to be chained to them for like months. How would that make your life? It would make it pretty difficult, I think. It would make it pretty hard to be happy. Well, that's really what's happening if we're living with aspects of ourselves that we don't like. So before we can determine if we like who we are, we have to determine who we are. And I'm not talking here about what you do as mom or at your job. Those are all what you do. And a lot of times we get those mistaken with who we are. And so we really want to look at who we are inside. How do other people see us as a person? How do we see ourselves as a person? Ideally, you could take a week at a posh hotel and just veg out with nothing on your mind but figuring out who you really are and what you really like about yourself. But most of us can't take that time. But we can take a few minutes, even if it's just while you're eating your tuna sandwich at lunchtime, to figure out who we really are and make changes in our life to make a more fulfilling, fun life. So to be really clear before we get started, I'm not talking about setting goals here. Goals are awesome, and if they're important to have. I'm not talking about writing lists of things to do. What I'm talking about is figuring out what you are inside, what your personality is, what you are all about, what your dreams are, what your feelings are about how life is lived. Now, there's two ways to do this activity. The way online and the way I'm going to show you on the screen is a quick activity. It only has 10 choices, and you can do that and get a good idea, and you'll get on track, and it'll give you some things to work on. But if you find that all those 10 choices match up and you really want to dig deeper, or if you want to write them down, which makes it really easy, go ahead and click on the link and print out the extended copy. It has a lot of different choices, and that makes it easier to see the overall of who you are, and it gives you a lot more aspects of your life rather than just the 10 that are online here in the video. So this week's activity, I'm going to give you a list of sets of words. So like I said, on the quick activity, there's only going to be 10. If you download the extended activity and print that out, there's going to be, I think there's like 50 or something like that, 30 to 50. That you can go through, but at least try these quick 10. So they're going to come up on the screen. You're going to want to take some time to write the sets down. I'll leave that up while I continue talking and giving you the directions. So what you're going to want to do is look at each pair of personality traits and circle which one most sounds like you. Remember to pick the one that represents who you are, not who you wish to be. That'll come next. So the exercise should be done really quickly, spending only a couple of seconds for each choice, because using your first reaction usually gives you the best results. So if you get stuck on one, move past it and come back to it at the end. Don't sit and think on it right then. Then when you revisit it, see if one of the terms is something you don't like in others. Often the things that we don't like about ourselves are the same things we don't like about others, and they're the most difficult to figure out. Once you have a list of your personality traits, go back through and determine which trait you admire most in each set. If you're using a new set, you can just circle the one that you most admire. If you're using the same set, cross off the one you don't like. This is where it comes in handy to have the printed set, because there are 2 copies and you can use one for each activity part. But the key is to go through and figure out what you really admire. And here you can think about what you admire, the traits in other people, or if you just know of what you want to be, or if you are something and you really like it, then that would be something you can circle. Now you should have your two lists. I want you to compare the lists. Okay, so look at them both together and see which items match up. Which items do you admire that you have? Now, if you have all of them, that's great. If you just did the quick activity and you have all of them, you may want to try the extended activity because it's going to give you a lot more a variety of personality traits. Now, if you have all of them different, you're going to have a lot of work to do. But that's okay. You can do this. It's not going to be as hard as it seems. The next week I have a really easy way to go through and make these changes. So don't worry about that. This week we're just getting it down and comparing the two sets to figure out the distance we have to go. So then when you've come up with the ones that are different, you have two choices. The first choice is you can change that personality trait in you. If you don't like how you are, you can make a change. So if I didn't like that I was selfish, I could become more generous. You also can take choice 2, which is to change your perception about that trait. So let's say I'm really unorganized. People could comment and say, oh geez, what a mess her desk is. But if I can find what I need and things work for me, I can block out those other people's comments and not worry about that my desk is a mess. You have to make the choice for yourself. You can either change the things that are different or you can change how you think about it. You don't have to go on other people's perspectives. Just because someone else doesn't like the clutter on your desk doesn't mean that you have to dislike it. So make those choices. Choice 1 or choice 2. Go ahead and just mark it next to each one that's different and kind of think about it. Now, you don't have to be stuck to that. You can change your mind. Here's that list one more time. I want to thank you for joining me this week and good luck on the activity. Come back next week so you can figure out how to make the changes you need to.